Oh, looks amazing. Yeah, baby.
Didn't even mess my hair up. You sleeping on the job.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In the last episode, you saw us make this cool wheel roller stand because in today's episode, we are finally rebuilding my 1982 vintage magnesium three-piece BBS Motorsport wheels, the E50s. This era of European motorsport wheels ushered in my favorite era of cars. You know, the DTM circuit, Group 5, even IMSA racing, almost all of those cars had BBS Motorsport wheels on them. I got this particular set of wheels from my good friend Elliot from 944 Barn down in Georgia, and he's the same guy I got the 1000 SP's current wheels from. These are a 1978 set of BBS Mollies. So these here are a one-piece wheel, a 15x7 and a 15x8 in the rear, even though you can't see it when the 1000 SP's aired out. But I originally wanted to go 16s on the 1000 SP, some overall height spacing in the rear once it's aired out made me a little bit concerned that 16s would be too large. But now that we have some 15s up in there, I think we can get away with 16s on the car. And since I'd much rather have the E50s on the car than the Mollies, we're gonna go for it. They're not completely original. One of the rear wheels has a different barrel on it, which is not BBS. They do have all the original BBS Motorsport lips, which you can identify by the aggressive rollover of the lip right there. See how the lip comes up, but then rolls over the side? That there is a dead giveaway of Motorsport BBS lips. I did think about using these lips, just polishing them since they are the original Motorsport lips, basically disassembling all the wheels and mirror polishing the lips. But honestly, we don't have a ton of time to get this car ready for SEMA. So I decided to work with my friends at SRR Hardware over in England and get some lips and hardware for the wheels. So all we have to do is basically disassemble them and then reassemble them with new hardware. So I'll show you guys the components I got from SRR. We've got two barrels we're gonna put up front, and we're gonna use these front barrels for the rear. And then I've got 4 brand new mirror polished lips, and we have all the bolts we need, 80 of them, to basically bolt everything back together. Let's keep our fingers crossed that all these bolts come out of these inserts well, because these are a magnesium face with a threaded insert that goes in from the front that the bolts basically pull tight when they come in from the back. Dealing with this vintage magnesium can be quite tedious. I'm really nervous about these inserts, and indeed, I'm actually gonna leave the factory inserts in. I know a lot of you guys that rebuild or refinish wheels would say you should replace the inserts, and I'm there with you, but I'm not gonna touch them for right now. Basically, I wanna get the wheels rebuilt, sealed up, tires on, to continue on building the chassis and sheet metal work in the 1000 SP. So for now, we're gonna see if all of these will stay put, all the bolts can come out, and we can get them a good torque setting when we rebuild them, and we'll cross whatever bridges we get to if we run into any issues. Now, about a month ago, before we left for England for 2 weeks, I soaked down every single bolt and insert in all 4 wheels with fluid film, with some penetrating oil, to let that just sit. Okay, let's go to one more setting. There we go. Now, we're not gonna have to worry about reusing these bolts, but we do wanna hold on to these shoulder washers. These here we're gonna need. I opted to not buy new ones because I figured I could just clean them up and they'd be usable again. And the inserts hopefully stay in place. That's the goal here. Oh, these are aluminum. All right, well, we got the first lip and barrel separated. This thing is just garbage, just absolute garbage. Look at how not flat that barrel is. Now, in multi-piece wheel configuration, this is what we call a face-mounted wheel, because as you can see, the face mounts on top of the lip, right? So basically, the only two pieces that have to be sealed in order to keep air inside the tire is the lip and the barrel. Those two are what touch together, have to be sealed up. If this was what they call a sandwich mount wheel, it would be the lip, then the face, then the barrel, and you'd have to seal up all three. But since that's not the case here, we got to get the face separated from the lip, and it's been in there a while, and it's a tight fit. The E50 faces are like an inch thick, so there's a lot of contact and a lot of corrosion, I'm sure, between the two. So probably what I'll do is I'll put a pretty thick towel down on the workbench, flip the lip over on his face, and we'll tap it with a rubber mallet and try to bust it free. Okay, so real quickly, before we give this thing a good tap to see if it separates from the lip, I want to show you one more thing that's in here that I expected to see on an 80s BBS Motorsport wheel, but maybe some of you guys have not seen, is you'll notice there's a seam between the lip and this bolt face here. This here is a seal ring. And this is seen in a lot of multi-piece motorsport wheels. You'll notice a bunch of silicone here, or whatever type of RTV they may have used when they redid this wheel. This needs to be sealed, because imagine the tire sits here, right? And then when these two pieces come together, obviously air can enter where the tire is, or air can escape out of the tire. That's why the stem hole always has an O-ring and is sealed. So if you're building a 2 or even 3-piece wheel, you have to use a silicone to seal it up. And when you do that, it's got to set up for at least 24 hours in most cases, unless you're using some sort of accelerated setup silicone or sealant. So when you're at the racetrack and you bend a wheel or something, you don't have 24 hours to wait to basically rebuild your spare set of wheels or whatever, in case you need it again. So what BBS was doing with their motorsport wheels was they created this aluminum spacer ring that has O-rings on both sides of it. And you can see it right here. And there's another O-ring on the inside of that. And what happens is the O-ring on the inside of that seals the lip, and then the O-ring on this side seals the barrel. So basically at the racetrack, you could assemble this wheel without any sealant needing to cure. So you could just put the wheel together, torque all your bolts down, put a tire on it, put air in it, put it on the car, and run it. These O-rings allow it to seal immediately. Now clearly, whoever rebuilt this wheel and added that aftermarket barrel either didn't have the other O-ring on the inside of this, or deemed these O-rings not usable and just put it together with it anyway, you know, because they obviously sealed it up. I've rebuilt a lot of these vintage BBS wheels that have this O-ring, and I too have sealed them up just as a contingency plan, just to ensure that they won't leak. You'll see here in some of the ones that are all original. You'll see here, this is an all original E50. As far as I know, it's all original. It may have been taken apart at one point, but it's all original components, because we have the barrel and we have the lip. The face is obviously on the outside of the lip, but you can see that aluminum ring right there in the middle. And there's no sealant. The last time these things had tires on them, they were relying only on the factory O-rings on that aluminum ring between the barrel and the lip. We're not going to rely on that. probably what I'll do is, as long as all those rings are still there, we'll rebuild them with the rings, but we'll seal them up too, just to ensure that we don't have any leaks once we get them all together. I fear these might really be stuck in here. Oh. Boy, there she is. The magnesium BBS E50 center. Motorsport history right here. Aluminum sealing ring. All right, I've got the next rear wheel up here. This is the 8-inch wide wheel, 3.5-inch lip. So insanely cool. These have the original BBS bolts. 12.8 mil socket is what gets these things out, which I had to buy separately because none of my socket sets had a 12.8 mil. I feel like these were put in at factory spec because these aren't, so far the first two aren't taking a ton to get loose. Boy, I don't know if this wheel has ever been taken apart before. All right, we have the two faces of the rear wheels separated and the lips and barrels. That barrel we're definitely not using. We're gonna ultimately use two of the best old barrels. So we have yet to decide which ones those are. We're now moving on to the front wheels. So we're about to disassemble the first of the pair front wheels. And these are the ones that seem to be as original as they can get, simply because there's no silicone or sealant between the lip barrel where the circular O-ring is. There does seem to be a lot of concerning sealant around the valve stem, but we're not going to reuse those anyway. All right, we have one bolt that won't free up, even with the impact set on number 3, like the small impact, not the serious one. So I think I'm going to put just a long pry bar on it, see if this works. I really need a tire machine here because I can clamp this thing up, hold it in place. That doesn't feel good. Figures the tripod falls over when I get the last stubborn bolt out. I didn't put a ton of heat to it. All right, well there's the barrel separated. No sealant at all on this O-ring spacer that seals it. Look at that, pulls right off. The BBS E76s I had on my Lada 2101, my Zhiguli, those were magnesium faces as well and had a similar ring. Those were 15s, not 16s. And I was able to get these O-rings from BBS of America. So I suppose if we had to, we could still get these O-rings, hopefully. Oh, easy enough. All right, 2 bolts left in this last wheel that do not want to come out with the impact. So we're gonna do the same as we did last time. We're gonna put just a little bit of heat to it, just enough to motivate it to come out, hopefully. And yes, I know that magnesium is highly flammable and burns hot and burns white and burns forever. The wheel's not gonna suddenly combust and catch fire. If it does, I will stand corrected, but I don't think it's going to. Also, think about this being on a race car with the brakes seized up or something, and it makes a full lap or 2, or maybe a whole race of the brakes seized up and the calipers and the rotors just get red hot. I don't even think that's as hot as we just got this thing. Oh no! I just snapped off my bit. All right, the only place locally that was still open, or that probably would even have one, was O'Reilly's, and I had to buy a whole nother full set. Well, not a full set, but I had to spend $25 on essentially a cheapo depot Chinese 5mm Allen that came with a whole bunch of sizes I still have. So you guys know how that goes. Because I didn't want to wait another 2 or 3 days to order a good single 5mm Allen 3/8 socket, I just bought a whole nother set. So let's hope that this cheapo one that is now part of a set that I have duplicates of can at least get these last 2 out and all 80 of the new ones in. Got it. Got it. So basically I need to go through this bin and get all of the shoulder washers separated from the bolts on the ones that are like kind of seized up. Got a lot separated, ready to clean up. I'll probably just put these to the wire wheel, just clean them up nice, and separate all the ones that are still kind of stuck together. Now, if you're unfamiliar with BBS wheels, the way they stamp their date of manufacture is usually right on the face or on the back of the face. And it'll be a 4-digit number. It'll basically be 2 digits / 2 digits. And the way they basically lay that out is the first 2 digits is the number of the week of the year, which is the second 2 digits. So basically this wheel here, or this face, was manufactured on the 10th week of 1982, which was the first week of March. So 1982, the 10th week was the first full week of March. So now that we've got these all broken down, I'm going to clean up the sides here, which ultimately fit down into the lips. I don't know if I've said this yet, but we are not refinishing the faces. They are quite patinaed and worn, but that is, to no surprise to most of you, that's why we are not restoring the faces. Well, 2 things. One reason why we're not restoring the faces is because it's going on a car that they will look comparable on. Like, it will look awesome, in my opinion, having a worn, almost like newly discovered set of worn out wheels on a worn out car. But also, these are magnesium, and it's kind of tedious to refinish magnesium. I don't want to media blast them. I don't want to chem strip them. It's real easy to pit these up even more than they already are. And I kind of like the shade of gold that they're in. They're like the original 1982 BBS gold. We're going to use 2 of the best of the 3 original barrels. So I'm going to go through those now, figure out which 2 are the best out of the 3. And we've got brand new lips and hardware from SRR over in England. Now, before I started to wire wheel these things down, there was no remnants of anything, no visibility of any numbers or anything like that on these. But once I started to wire wheel them down, some engraved numbers exposed themselves. And take a look at this. This one is 3092, 3093, 3094, and you guessed it, 3095. Kind of a cool piece of evidence showing that these may indeed have been an original set since it's 92, 93, 94, 95. 82, that's 43 years ago. It's crazy to think that this set of wheels stayed together for that long. All right, it's time to run a tap down through these inserts just to clean them up. These are an M6x1 coarse thread. And I do believe I have that tap right here. All right, guys, I have all of the face inserts tapped. We're gonna tap down through them all. They all feel great. Should be ready to go for all the new hardware. The new pieces we have to add are our barrels. These barrels are gonna go up front. These are a 16 by 5, 20 hole BBS barrel. These are what we're gonna use in the front. Since I couldn't get the 4.5-inch barrels from SRR, we're gonna be using their 5-inch barrel. So I've got a pair of these, just 2 of these that I got from SRR for the front. So to pair with this barrel, we have new lips. So here are the good looking parts. This is what we'll see underneath the car. This here is a 20 hole, 16-inch diameter obviously, but this is a 2.5-inch lip. And this is the same as the front BBS lips that were originally on the E50s. Wow, that already looks amazing. Well, the first one is assembled. We're not torqued down yet, but boy, it looks great with a brand new barrel and bolts in there. Well, now that this thing has all the bolts in it, I'm gonna torque them down. Now, it is key to know what the torque specs for 3-piece split wheels are. Notably, a vintage magnesium face wheel with threaded inserts, right? Most 3-piece wheels or 2-piece wheels will have a through bolt. So we'll slide a bolt through these holes, and then on the back side there's a nut. Now BBS is a German motorsport company, and if you were to look up the bolt torque specs, you'd probably get them in Newton meters, NM, and they call for between 22 and 24 Newton meters of torque spec. Now if you're like me in America, we're gonna be dealing with inch pounds. I've got a little inch pound ratchet torque wrench, and that correlates to about 200 inch pounds, 193 to 203 or something in that window. So we're gonna go 200 inch pounds. Well, we have the fronts done, just not sealed up yet. But boy, oh boy, does this look awesome. For a guy who loves patina and like original condition stuff, clearly, this is like my favorite move. Because a fully refurbished wheel would just look too good on the 1000 SP, I think. I mean, we could pull it off. So now that we've got the fronts done, we are going to move on to the rear. These are torqued, all ready to go, ready for sealant. And now we'll start building the rears. All right, now that all 4 wheels are assembled and torqued, we are getting ready for sealant, because now obviously we need to seal them so air will stay inside the tire. So what I've done is I've run some tape. A lot of people do this differently. I'm not a professional wheel builder, but I've built a ton of wheels over the years. And what I like doing is I run some tape to kind of provide a straight edge where my sealant can bleed over. So what I'll end up doing is we'll put sealant in here. I'm gonna use just 100% silicone, which I've used a bunch of different stuff too. I've used GE 100% silicone. I've used the Permatex stuff, handful of other companies over the years. The GE silicone, you can get it anywhere, your local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, and it works just fine. I haven't had any leaks with it, so we're gonna use that. And what I'll do is I'll put it in my caulking gun and we'll basically spread it all the way around. And this is when the wheel stand roller is gonna work best. This is where it's gonna shine, because we'll be able to just roll it as we apply it. And then we'll let it set up. We'll squeegee it down over the tape. We'll let it set up, and then tomorrow, once it's all set, about 24 hours to cure, we'll peel the tape, and that should reveal a nice straight edge line, making it look like it was sealed in a professional environment. All right, well, that's the last wheel sealed. Now we just gotta wait for it to cure. So tomorrow morning, I'll peel the tape. We should be good to go. And like I said, we'll get stems in them. And the 165/45 16s that I bought while in England through Max's shop, Eva Resto, and shipped here have been delivered. So they're here with me now. Probably should have just carried them on the plane because shipping and tariffs were not friendly. But we have tires here. Tires that we can't get here in the States. All right, good morning. Next day, we've had the silicone sitting for some time now. Not quite 24 hours, but set up nonetheless. So I'm gonna peel the tape, see what our lines look like, and we're gonna head right over to my father's shop. I've got valve stems waiting. Haven't installed those yet. Well into the 90s now, and it's only like 9 a.m. So it's gonna be a hot day today. So I've got the tires already loaded up in the truck. Truck's running. I fixed the AC the other day, just needed a charge. The last time I did that, it lasted like a full year. So I'm hoping I get another year out of a good charge with AC in that truck, because we need it right now. It's blisteringly hot. And that tape, as you can see, gives us a nice, super smooth, straight edge for our silicone. So stoked on that. All right, guys, we're over at my father's shop, getting the truck unloaded. Just got the tires out, letting them sit in the sun a little bit, because we are going to be stretching these bad boys. Ooh! All right, so these are the tires that I bought while I was in England. As you can see, they're tiny little things. Now, we can't get this size here in America anymore. These are a 165/45 16. These are really small. The reason why I went so small with these tires is because of the rear window spacing on the 1000 SP. If you guys have been on board with this whole build series the last couple of years now, is when the car's aired out, a 165/50 15 is dangerously close to the rear window. We have a little bit of room, but going up to a 16 was gonna get us even closer to that window. So I was hesitant to go to 16s. I know the front really needs 16s with that big wheel arch on the car. So I basically crunched some numbers and realized a 165/45 16 is just barely a quarter inch overall taller than a 165/50 15. Since we're here at my dad's shop, the shop that he built by himself when he was like 22, 23 years old, might as well give you guys an update on his late model Corvair that he's putting over an S10 frame with, you guessed it, a V8 in the front. He's gotten so much work done on this thing, including doing a 68 Chevelle grill in the front, which I feel like is the coolest move. I've seen so many people do Subaru swaps and front engine V8 swaps and even mid-engine V8 swaps in these Corvairs, and they just kind of like hole saw the front and it just doesn't look finished. Well, a 68 Chevelle grill trimmed to fit, and it's upside down too, if I remember correctly. Looks really good in a late model Corvair. But he's still working on it. He's chiseling away slowly but surely. He's doing a full renovation on the house, so he's been really busy. At almost 70 years old, he's still on my local fire department too. So he's still a firefighter, still going strong with that. It's got a ways to stretch on the bottom, but it went last time first go. Are you ready? Oh. It's going. Yep. Yeah, bottom grab. Nice. All right, well, we have the first two on. These are the fronts, and naturally a 165/45/16 on a 7.5 inch wide wheel, I figured we were gonna need the bead blaster, which we totally did. But went on just fine each go. Luckily, it's a hot day outside. The tires are sitting in the sun, so they're nice and pliable. I'll reiterate that this size tire on this size wheel is only because the spacing issues we have in the back of the Auto Union. So really wanted to go to 16s on the car, but in order to make them fit with the car airing down all the way, we got to go with a real small tires. This is on a 7.5 inch wide wheel, and we have yet to do the rears, which are 8s. So they're going to be a little crazier looking than this, but since these went on so easy, I'm optimistic they'll go on a 1/2 inch wide, wider wheel than these. So huge shout out to our friend Brian Bushman, who lives here in Meredith, or technically Center Harbor. He ran an automotive business for many years and retired recently, and gave me this old dinosaur of a bead blaster. And I tell you what, it's put in some work for me. It's probably done more work for me in the last couple of years than he ever did. Using it for truck tires, probably.
It is handy.
Oh yeah. It's big and cumbersome, but it's getting tires seated, that's for sure. It did a 7.5, no problem. Three, two, one. Yeah, baby. Yeah. The rear's got to go. Yeah, it's slow. Yep. Nice. God bless the summer. That's some 2009 Japanese strut right there. If I had a discount code to give you guys for those Cove Audio headphones, I'd give it to you right now, because clearly they can be used for bead blasting tires on wheels.
And mowing the lawn.
Yeah, more importantly, mowing the lawn. Easy, easy.
Didn't even mess my hair up.
Yeah, that bottom seated.
Yeah, I felt it go.
Nice, short work. All right, guys, we successfully have all 4 tires mounted. They're all holding air. Super stoked on this. They are elastic bands for sure, especially on a 16. But I do like the look of them. I think they're gonna look great under the 1000 SP, because that car is a really small car. So to run a big wheel on a small car that's really low to the ground, this is kind of the only way to do it, because we don't have any more room in the back for anything larger diameter. We are well past afternoon coffee time. Get a nice coffee and head back to the shop. What do you think of the new wheels, buddy? What do you think of the new wheels? What do you think of the new wheels? He he hates the camera. Oh, buddy. Well, we're back at the shop. I got a chance to wipe the wheels down, clean up the lips a little bit. I cannot wait to test fit them on 1000 SP. We're not gonna do it in this episode because you guys remember how much work I have to do to get the rear wheels off this car. Disconnect shocks, disconnect the airbag lower brackets. It's quite a process. For now, the mollies stay on there, which obviously look very similar, but I can't wait to tuck more wheel. I mean, in the rear, you guys know, you're not even gonna see a wheel in the rear. I mean, arguably you'll see a little bit more wheel because we've got less tire and more wheel, but yeah, you're not even gonna be able to tell what kind of wheel's in the back. Can't wait to see what this thing looks like on 16s, laid out on the concrete. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really stoked on how these wheels came out and stoked that I could give this new wheel roller stand a test run. It really came in handy. I'm glad I took the time to build that as well. Well, that's it for now, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the notification bell as well. I'm pretty regular with the Sunday uploads, but I really want to get into 2 a week if I can. Also, all of you guys over on the Patreon, thank you so much for all of your continued support there. We have so much work to do. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.